Okay, so this is the start of the chapter on inequalities. And before we get into the inequalities, we need to know how to state the solution of the inequality. Usually when you solve an equation, you will get one solution or infinite solutions or no solution. Like when we say x equals 3 or whatever, usually it's one number most of the time, or maybe two if it's a quadratic. With inequalities, you get actually a set of numbers as a solution usually. And so there's the three different ways to show the solution for inequality. This is called interval notation. So we're going to put interval notation. So this refers to, and before I get to that, I want to point out that you see parentheses and you see these brackets, okay? So parentheses mean endpoint not included, or there's no end, and we'll get to that when we get to infinity. When you use brackets, it means endpoint included. Okay, so remember with inequalities you can have greater than, less than, greater than or equal, and less than or equal. So something that's greater than a number, that number's not going to be included. So you would use the parenthesis, or less than. If it's greater than or equal to, the endpoint is included. So you would use the bracket. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean. So for this interval notation, this means x is between 2 and 7, but not including the 2 and not including the 7, because there's parentheses, okay? So we're going to go over here and we are going to graph this. Okay, so for the inequalities, you only need the x-axis, or the one-dimensional x, okay? So we're going from 2 to 7. So we'll put 2 there and 7 here. And since there are parentheses, we're going to actually put parentheses on the graph like that. And then we're going to draw a line between them. So that is this is the solution from 2 to 7, not including 2 to 7. Okay, set notation for this is the set of all x such that x is between 2 and 7. And you can actually read inequalities from right to left or left to right. So x is greater than 2 and x is less than 7. X is greater than 2, less than 7. X is between 2 and 7. So all three of those stand for the same set of numbers. Interval, graph, and set notation. So this is just the same kind of example using different combinations of parentheses and brackets, and some we're going to talk about infinity and negative infinity. So this one from 2 to 7, this time the 7's included. So we have our 2, we have our 7. The 2 gets a parenthesis and the 7 gets a bracket. And if you notice, this should match this. So this kind of tells you what to do over here. And the set notation is the set of all x such that x is greater than 2, but is less than or equal to 7. So notice the difference in that with the bracket, how that changes in the set notation. For here, the 2's included with the bracket, and the 7 has a parenthesis. So it's the set of all x such that x is greater than or equal to 2. It has a bracket. And x is less than 7. So notice the difference there. Okay? 2 to infinity. This means x is greater than 2. It doesn't stop at 7. Okay? So 2 is not included either. So 2 gets a parenthesis. And when you have to infinity, you just write an arrow because it never stops. So in set notation, set of all x such that x is greater than 2. And that's all you need to put for that. Okay? All right, so this is x is less than 7 because it goes to negative infinity. So we're going to start at 7, and 7 is included. And it's all x less than 7 up to 7 and including 7. Okay? And set notation for that would be the set of all x such that x is less than or equal to 7. X equals 7 and is less than 7. Okay, and this way is negative infinity. This way is positive infinity. Just like on your x number line. You've got your positive numbers going this way, your negative numbers going that way. Okay, now if the set, this means x can be any real number. There is no bound on x at all. So from negative infinity to infinity, what you're going to do is you're simply going to put an arrow on both ends. Okay, for your graph. And this is the set of all x such that you can say x is an element of the real numbers. Okay, x is real. Element of, this is epsilon. It means is an element of. When we talk about sets, we talk about elements of the set. It's just something that's part of the set. And this is epsilon. Okay, a Greek letter. And then this capital R with the two lines there to make the capital R. This is the set of all real numbers. So if you say that x is an element of the reals, you're saying it can be any real number. Okay, I hope this helps you with the notations for how to present the solution to inequalities. Thank you.